Welcome to the Plain Books Podcast. We take fascinating material chosen by you, and we really dig deep, pulling out the most vital insights, maybe some surprising facts, to leave you feeling genuinely well-informed.
That's the goal.
Today, we're embarking on an inspiring journey, I think, through Zig Ziglar's enduring classic, Steps to the Top.
A foundational text for so many people. It really holds up.
It really does. Our mission with this podcast, this deep dive, is to unpack the timeless wisdom packed into these pages.
Yeah, to discover those core principles for success, for happiness, for personal growth.
And ultimately to empower you, our listener, to maybe take some of these powerful ideas and apply them to genuinely enhance your own life.
Absolutely. We'll explore some really compelling stories, some powerful quotes directly from the book.
And show how these principles can truly transform your outlook and, crucially, your action.
Right. It's not just theory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So get ready not just to listen, but maybe to engage a bit, reflect, perhaps even take some immediate action based on what we discuss. Let's dig in.
It's a real privilege to dive into Ziglar. His ability to distill these really profound truths into actionable, everyday wisdom is pretty much unparalleled.
He doesn't mess around, does he?
No, he gets right to it. He begins Steps to the Top by laying down this foundational principle that, honestly, if you grasp this one thing, it sets the stage for everything else he talks about regarding personal and professional triumph.
Yeah, he wastes no time getting to the heart of it. Right there, page 1, he introduces attitude as, quote, the important and decisive factor in life.
Decisive, that's the word.
It is. He makes it crystal clear that it's not simply what happens to us, but the attitude we choose to take toward those events.
That choice is key.
And that word elect, it really jumped out at me. He says you can elect to become the master of your moods, ideas, responses, and outlook. That's such a powerful verb, isn't it?
It implies agency, control.
It does. It implies an active choice, almost like casting a vote for your own internal state rather than just, being passively tossed around by circumstances.
Right.
So how do we really cast that vote, especially when things feel overwhelming or, you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed?
Yeah.
What's the practical first step?
Well, that's really where Ziglar's genius lies, I think, in making the profound practical. He fundamentally believed that while you can't always control the external stuff, the things happening to you, you have absolute power over your response, your internal world.
Right.
So when he says elect, he's speaking directly to our agency, our power to choose. The book's very purpose is rooted right there in that proactive stance.
Okay.
He wrote Steps to the Top with this conviction that even just a few minutes each day spent deliberately with positive thoughts, with these specific insights from the book, would provide that necessary lift.
Like a mental boost.
Exactly. You can use it for a quick temporary boost, sort of like a mental pick-me-up just by reading a single page. Or you could delve deeper into several success steps for a more solid, lasting foundation.
So different levels of engagement.
Right. But the truly long-lasting benefits, as he really emphasizes, come from actively engaging with the action steps that are, sprinkled throughout the book.
Ah, the doing part.
Yes. It's basically a manual for self-management, urging you to be the architect of your own emotional and mental well-being, one deliberate choice, one election at a time. It's about building that mental muscle through consistent, conscious engagement.
So it's definitely not just about passively absorbing information, but actively implementing it. And interestingly, it's not just about personal gain either, is it? He immediately makes this direct call to action to share the information.
That's a really key point early on.
He firmly believes in that old saying, the teacher learns more than the pupil, emphasizing that those who give truly benefit more than those who receive. That's quite an interesting twist on self-improvement, isn't it?
It challenges the purely self-focused approach.
Yeah, it challenges us to become a giver of positive influence, not just a receiver. He encourages us to really dig into these steps to success, to read it first thing in the morning, maybe last thing at night, and even to reread the entire book for, even greater benefits.
It suggests this cyclical, reinforcing process of growth where giving actually speeds up your own learning and integration.
Makes sense.
And what's truly striking, I think, in his introduction is just the sheer gratitude he expresses right from the very start. He explicitly states that Steps to the Top is his attempt to say thank you to the world, or even to America, for giving me the opportunity through freedom and the free enterprise system to write this book.
That's quite a statement.
It really is. This isn't just some perfunctory acknowledgement. It's a profound recognition of the gift of the environment that allowed him to create and share his ideas.
He felt indebted, in a good way.
Absolutely. And he extends his thanks to specific contributors like Stephen Douglas Williford, Glady James Robinson, and Dr. Neil Gallagher for their stories, highlighting their essential research efforts. He also acknowledges Laurie Downing for her, quote, untiring efforts and incredible skill in typing the manuscript, and expresses gratitude to his entire staff.
So a real team effort.
Yes, but then, most poignantly, he thanks his wife, Jean, the redhead, who has been his wife in my life for over 37 years, crediting her constant love and inspiration as a prime reason for the book even existing.
Wow.
So this isn't just a book, it's clearly an expression of a life built on opportunity and support. He was a man deeply aware of the blessings that made his work possible.
That deep sense of gratitude definitely comes through. It colors his whole approach. Okay, so moving beyond just attitude, he immediately tackles a really widespread internal battle, that feeling of inferiority.
Oh yeah, a big one.
He cites Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who estimated that something like at least 95% of the people in the world feel inferior. That's a staggering number.
It really is.
And Ziglar argues this is often because we spend way too much time comparing ourselves with heroes and heroines from the make-believe world. Why do we do that? Why do we fall into that trap of comparing ourselves to these often unattainable, idealized versions of others? What's the psychology there?
Well, it's a very human tendency, unfortunately. We live in a world that's just saturated with these curated images of perfection, right? Whether it's from media or even just our own social feeds.
Highlight reels.
Exactly. Everyone else's highlight reel becomes our internal comparison point. We see the polished, finished product of others, but we're intimately aware of all the messy, imperfect, behind-the-scenes stuff in our own lives.
That's so true.
So the core idea here, which Ziglar really hammers home, is that true success isn't about comparing yourself to others at all. It's by comparing your accomplishments to your capabilities.
Okay, measuring against yourself.
Yes. He asserts that you are number one when you do the best you can with what you have every day. This is such a crucial, liberating shift in perspective. Instead of some external, often impossible standard, your success is measured by your own effort and how you use your unique gifts.
Right, what you bring to the table.
So the action step he provides urges you to realize that I am special and unique, and I will use my talents instead of wishing for the talents of another. It challenges that self-defeating habit of wishing you were someone else, prompting you to embrace your authentic self, the person you are uniquely wired to be.
And he hits hard with the self-reflective question that just nails it. Why is it we judge ourselves by our ideals and others by their acts?
Oof, yeah, that's a direct hit.
It is. It's such a profound observation because it immediately highlights our internal double standard. We hold ourselves to this perfect, often unattainable internal ideal, right? But then we apply a much harsher, more visible standard to others based purely on their outward actions.
We see their actions, but we feel our intentions and ideals.
Exactly. And this bias isn't just unfair. It traps us in this cycle of self-criticism and judgment that Ziglar clearly wants us to break. It's really a call for greater self-compassion and more realistic assessments of both ourselves and other people.
And this ties seamlessly into his next point about counting our blessings. He directly challenges that common lament, that the good old days are somehow behind us.
Oh, you hear that all the time.
All the time. He counters this pervasive negativity by proclaiming, this is a very good time to be living. Now, he acknowledges that every generation faces its share of problems. No era is perfect, right? But we often disproportionately emphasize the negative and completely forget the immense positive aspects of our current time.
We focus on the bad news.
Pretty much, it's a reminder that our perception often outweighs the objective reality.
He provides some really compelling, concrete details to back this up too,
Yeah.
grounding his philosophy in tangible improvements.
Yeah, the specifics help.
For instance, he points out that a century before he wrote the book, life expectancy was less than 40 years old. Less than 40. But at the time of writing, it was over 74. That's almost double.
A massive leap.
And think about how many diseases have been virtually wiped out. He reminds us that polio, once the absolute fear of every mother, had only 86 reported cases in the entire country recently.
Yeah.
He contrasts the, primitive sanitation and hazardous childbirth of a century ago with modern advancements.
Themes we completely take for granted now.
Exactly. These aren't minor points. They're fundamental improvements in human well-being that we often just forget about, losing sight of the incredible progress humanity has actually made.
Exactly. His analysis emphasizes that today we have more young people in college than ever before, including a significant rise in minority youth pursuing careers as doctors, lawyers, teachers, ministers, opportunities that were far rarer before.
Right.
He was absolutely convinced that the 1980s, when the book was written, would eventually be seen as the greatest 10 years of this century, boldly proclaiming, "These are the good old days."
Right now, these are them.
Yes. This perspective encourages a present moment appreciation, reminding us that this era we are living in right now might be the very good old days that future generations look back on with nostalgia. It's a powerful invitation to just shift our lens.
It really is.
And the action step is so simple, yet powerful. Today, I will count my blessings. 5 things I am especially grateful for are... And then there's space to listen. What 5 things come to your mind right now, listener? Just taking that moment.
That's a great prompt. And the quote that goes with it truly encapsulates this whole outlook. Happiness is not a station at which you arrive, but a manner of traveling.
Classic Ziglar. So good.
It's not a destination we reach after we get enough stuff or achieve some specific status, but it's a continuous journey built on a mindset of appreciating what is right now.
Yes, the process, not just the outcome.
Okay, building on this positive foundation, he then addresses another inevitable aspect of life: criticism. He states pretty bluntly, every one of us, like every successful person you will ever meet, faces moments of criticism. No matter what your career involvement, the more successful you become, the more criticism you will receive.
Okay.
So, is criticism truly a badge of honor for achievement? And if it is, how do we shift our mindset to see it that way rather than just feeling attacked?
Well, it absolutely can be a badge of honor if you choose to see it through the right lens. Think of it like this. If you're actually doing something impactful, if you're daring to stand out or innovate or challenge the status quo,
You're making waves.
you're making waves, and you're inevitably going to attract attention. And not all of that attention is going to be positive or supportive. Ziegler uses Davy Crockett's simple motto, make sure you are right, then go ahead, as a kind of illustrative point.
Be sure than act.
Exactly. The analysis is that the key is to rise above it. He uses that powerful metaphor. All the water in the world won't sink your boat if it doesn't get inside.
Love that.
Right. It means external negativity, all that criticism, can only harm you if you internalize it, if you let it penetrate your self-belief and sink your ship, so to speak. His advice is basically to stand by your convictions if you are certain you are right, rather than being swayed by the howling critics. It's about developing an inner resilience, a kind of mental toughness that doesn't just buckle under external pressure.
Right, letting it roll off your back,
Yeah.
essentially. This resonates so strongly with the action step he gives. Today, I will repeat the words of Abe Lincoln when criticism comes my way, and I will rise above the critics.
A high standard to aim for.
Definitely. And the quote from Hamilton Mabie is just perfect. Don't be afraid of opposition. Remember, a kite rises against, not with the wind.
Beautiful image.
It perfectly captures that idea that resistance or friction can actually be a force for propulsion, for liftoff, not just something that holds you back. It's a beautiful image to hold on to when you're facing those headwinds in life.
It really is. And speaking of changing things up, or maybe using resistance, Ziegler's next point, embracing variety and optimism, talks about changing the recipe.
Okay.
While consistency is generally good, and we often praise it, he says there's definitely a time and place for changing a proven success formula, even in business. Sometimes that element of surprise, the unexpected twist, can be a really potent ingredient for success.
He gives some great business examples here that really drive the point home, like Procter & Gamble launching Pringles.
Right, totally.
Completely defied traditional potato chip wisdom, right?
Yeah.
With their uniform shape stacked in a can. But it opened up a whole new market and proved that innovation, even when it seems to challenge established norms, can absolutely pay off.
Or Coach Tom Landry of the Dallas Cowboys, who was known for surprising opponents with unexpected plays and formations.
Keeping them guessing?
Exactly. This isn't just about being different for the sake of being different, but about strategically innovating to gain an edge, to keep others on their toes, and to carve out new opportunities where maybe others don't see them.
Makes sense.
And the transformative anecdote he shares here really brings this idea to life on a deeply personal level. It's about May Hancock.
Oh, yeah, this one's powerful.
It is. He was facing a really promising athletic career, but was tragically paralyzed from the waist down after a fall. Instead of succumbing to despair, which would have been completely understandable,
Absolutely.
he used humor and optimism to face this completely unexpected turn. He started drawing these humorous cartoons about his hospital experiences, like being woken up at 3 a.m. just for a sleeping pill. He turned that frustration into a source of amusement, first for himself, then for others.
Wow.
And this seemingly small act launched a whole new successful career for him as a cartoonist. His work started appearing in the Saturday Evening Post and TV Guide, and his first book, fittingly, was called Hospital Humor. His profound lesson, the takeaway, was that even when you absolutely cannot change a situation, you can always change your attitude toward it. And changing your attitude can, in turn, change your entire trajectory.
That's amazing. It just underscores the profound power of that positive internal shift, turning adversity into a catalyst for completely unexpected success. The action step here encourages us to laugh with others as often as possible, remembering to take my family and my business seriously, but not to take myself too seriously.
A little perspective.
Yeah, and Will Durant's question for reflection is really thought-provoking. Perhaps man, having remade his environment, will turn around at last and begin to remake himself.
It's a deep challenge, isn't it? To apply that same ingenuity and innovation that we've used on the external world technology environment to our inner landscape, to our own minds and spirits.
Yeah, turning the focus inward.
From remaking oneself, we naturally move to the very essence of achievement, the power of belief. Ziegler asserts that intense belief in a goal is one of the most powerful forces on Earth.
Not just helpful, but powerful.
Powerful. This isn't just, wishful thinking or reciting affirmations. It's a driving force that can literally move mountains, change the course of history, and defy logic.
He illustrates this with the incredible, almost mythical story of Joan of Arc.
An extreme example, but powerful.
It really is.
Yeah.
Imagine a 12-year-old shepherd girl who develops this intense, unshakable belief that she is destined to lead the army of France against England.
Seems impossible.
Totally. Yet at age 17, her unwavering conviction was so powerful, so, contagious, that she actually impressed Prince Charles enough for him to give her a suit of armor in command of an army.
Just based on her belief.
Apparently. And then she led a successful siege against the supposedly unconquerable fortress of Orleans, a pivotal victory that really changed the course of the 100 Years' War. That's not just a historical footnote. It's a testament to belief's sheer tangible power. The power to inspire action in others, to overcome overwhelming odds, and to manifest what seems absolutely impossible.
It highlights how a belief, when held with enough intensity, can genuinely inspire others and manifest what seems impossible, not through magic, obviously, but through focused, unwavering effort fueled by that conviction.
Right.
The action step here encourages us to spend time improving the physical, mental, and spiritual areas of my life, linking this internal cultivation directly with the power of belief. It's a holistic approach.
It all connects.
It all connects. And Thomas Fuller's quote rings so true. He does not believe that nay does not live according to his belief. True belief isn't just intellectual agreement or a passing thought. It's a lived experience. It shapes your actions, your choices, your very being. You embody it.
And that leads perfectly into the influence of positive language, what Ziegler playfully calls the go lights.
Yeah, I love this one.
He argues that using a positive vocabulary can build enthusiasm and lead to a more fulfilling life. It's not just semantics or simply putting on a happy face. It's a conscious choice that actually shapes your reality, your perception, and even the perceptions of those around you.
He provides this wonderful illustrative example through his brother friend Bernie Lofchick from Winnipeg. Bernie consciously uses warm instead of cold, strong ends instead of weak ends, and go lights instead of stop lights.
Little tweaks.
Little tweaks, but they matter. Now, this isn't about ignoring reality, he points out, but cleverly reframing it to elicit a more positive response, both in yourself and others.
So it's realistic optimism.
Exactly. The analysis is that this approach is realistic. Go lights truly do make traffic flow better. Resting on weekends genuinely does strengthen you for the next week, and a raised temperature is simply a warm. Such language not only brings smiles to faces, but actively builds enthusiasm for everyone. It's an active, conscious choice to infuse your interactions and even your own internal monologue with positivity.
It sounds contagious. The action step encourages you to try bringing up go lights in conversations and observe the smiles I help create. It's like a little experiment in spreading positivity.
Yeah, see what happens.
And the profound truth that accompanies this is simple but powerful. Nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. This whole first section really lays a solid mental foundation, doesn't it? It emphasizes that our internal world, Our attitude, our beliefs, our language is arguably the most potent determinant of our external success and experience.
It absolutely does.
Mhm.
And this robust mental foundation then allows us, prepares us, to bravely embrace opportunity and confront limitations, which is where we shift our deep dive next, moving from that internal framework to how we actually project and apply it in the external world.
Okay, so we've hopefully set the stage with cultivating a winning mindset. Now, how do we actually unlock our potential out there and seize the opportunities that come our way? Ziglar states pretty definitively that our accomplishments are determined not by our situation, but by what we make of it.
Right, the situation isn't the final word.
And he emphatically says, everybody has some talent. Now, that's a bold claim, isn't it? In a world that often seems to celebrate only the most extraordinary obvious gifts, how does Ziglar help us discover and actually believe in our own unique, maybe even hidden talents?
It's a crucial and incredibly empowering claim because it moves beyond the narrow idea that talent is some rare, divinely bestowed gift reserved for a few. Ziglar is talking about inherent human potential, something we all possess.
Okay.
He beautifully illustrates this with the truly inspiring story of Tilda Kemplin. Her story is remarkable.
Tell us about her.
She grew up in the really rugged mountains of East Tennessee, attended a one-room schoolhouse through 8th grade twice, actually, because there was no high school available beyond that.
Wow, limited opportunities.
Extremely. Despite this incredibly limited beginning, she became a cook. Then, at age 32, with a husband, 3 children, a job, and a home to manage, she became determined to go back to school.
That takes serious drive.
Immense drive. She enrolled in high school, graduated 5 years later, and then went on to earn a college degree in early education. Her motivation, the driving force behind all this, was to help other mountain children avoid the educational disadvantages she had faced.
Turning her own struggle into service.
Exactly. She volunteered her time, held classes literally out in fields, and eventually raised funds to build a child development center that ended up employing over 600 people in a county suffering from 26% unemployment.
That's incredible impact.
It really is. She eventually received the prestigious Jefferson Award for Outstanding Public Service, a testament to what one person, armed with determination and a clear purpose, can achieve regardless of their starting point.
Her story just screams that it's not your situation, but what you make of that situation, which determines what you will accomplish with your life. It's pure grit and vision.
Absolutely.
The action step is so direct following that. Today, I will spend more time thinking about what I do have rather than what I don't have. It's a conscious call to shift from that scarcity mindset, focused on limitations and lack, to an abundance mindset focused on possibilities and the resources already within our grasp.
Focusing on assets, not deficits.
Right. And Stuart B. Johnson's quote really drives it home. Our business in life is not to get ahead of others, but to get ahead of ourselves. It's about personal best, about internal growth and progress, not that constant, often draining comparison game or seeking external validation.
That internal focus is absolutely critical, and it extends to the very bedrock of sustained success, which Ziglar identifies unequivocally as honesty. He is completely unwavering on this point, stating, "You cannot be truly successful and dishonest. Honesty is not just the best policy, it is the only policy."
The only policy. Strong words.
Very strong. And he supports this by revealing some pretty staggering statistics from a Justice Department survey at the time, showing employee theft costing American businesses somewhere between $5 and $10 billion annually. That's a massive drain on the economy, rooted fundamentally in a lack of integrity.
And he broadens the definition of theft beyond just, taking money from the till.
Right.
He points to time stealing as an equally pervasive yet often overlooked issue.
Hidden theft.
Yeah. The average white-collar worker, he says the study found, steals about 4 hours and 18 minutes each week through things like late arrivals, early departures, long breaks, personal calls, misusing sick leave, or even on-the-job alcohol and drug use.
So quickly.
It really does. The American Heritage Dictionary definition he quotes for honest includes absolutely genuine, having integrity, honorable, not lying, cheating, or taking an unfair advantage.
It's a really comprehensive standard, isn't it? It challenges us to look beyond just the overt acts of theft to the more subtle ways we might be compromising our integrity daily. It is, and it's a challenge to our own perceptions of what constitutes integrity. Winston Churchill's quote, "It's important to be honest, but it's also important to be right," underpins Ziegler's analysis that stealing time is fundamentally no more right than stealing cash from the register.
It's an ethical equivalence.
Exactly. He cites Dr. Mortimer Feinberg's interviews with top Fortune 500 executives. These are people at the pinnacle of business who unanimously agreed that anyone who thinks they can reach and stay at the top without honesty is, quote, dumb.
Blunt.
Very blunt language, but powerful, emphasizing that integrity isn't just a moral preference. It's a fundamental prerequisite for sustained high-level achievement. It's simply a non-negotiable trait for long-term success in any field.
So you just can't fake it long term.
Apparently not at the highest levels. The action step is clear. Resolve to do what is right today, no matter how difficult it may seem. And Kilo's ancient wisdom reinforces it beautifully. Prefer loss to the wealth of dishonest gain. The former vexes you for a time. The latter will bring you lasting remorse. The short-term gain of dishonesty just isn't worth the long-term regret.
A timeless principle. Okay, so honesty is truly non-negotiable for sustained success. Next, he addresses the dynamics of leadership and followership, pointing out that while leaders are, of course, sorely needed, there's a pretty good case for followers. Now, this seems a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? In a society that often glorifies leadership above almost everything else, what's the unique value or strength in being a follower that Ziegler wants us to consider here?
It's a brilliant insight, really, because it acknowledges the fundamental reality of human organization and teamwork. Not everyone can be the general. You absolutely need excellent soldiers to execute the plan.
Right, you need both.
You need both. He shares this charming anecdote from S.I. Macmillan's book, None of These Diseases, about a young woman applying to college. On her application form, when asked if she was a leader, she honestly wrote no, fully expecting to be rejected.
Gutsy move.
Very. But to her surprise, she was accepted with a letter stating that the college already had 1,452 incoming new leaders, but felt it was imperative that they have at least one follower.
Ah, that's great.
It's humorous, but it makes a profound point about the necessity and the unique value of those people who support, who execute, who help bring a vision to life. Good followers are absolutely critical to effective leadership. You can't lead without them.
That really reframes it. He also highlights the tendency we sometimes have to race each other like participants in a stock car race, inflicting damage on ourselves and others in the sheer excitement to be first.
The competitive frenzy.
Yeah. Instead, he suggests that one really powerful way to become a leader is actually to study leaders and follow their examples. It's more like a path of apprenticeship, a deliberate learning process, rather than just trying to ascend immediately through sheer force or ambition.
Learning by following.
Exactly. The action step reinforces this. Today, I will follow the example of good leaders so that when my opportunity to lead comes, I will be prepared. And John Florio's quote sums it up with this powerful, concise truth: who hath not served cannot command.
Powerful. A real lesson in humility and preparation, suggesting that true, effective leadership often emerges from understanding the experience at the ground level, from having served first.
Makes sense. You understand what you're asking people to do.
Precisely. And once you're ready to engage with others, whether you're leading or following, one of your most effective tools is surprisingly simple. It's a smile. He calls it a persuasive weapon.
A weapon. That sounds intense.
Well, maybe tool is better. He emphasizes that sincerity, honesty, and persistence are key ingredients in persuasion. But a genuine smile is perhaps its most powerful single tool. It's the universal language of warmth, openness, and non-threat.
He even cites a Yale University study that apparently concluded a smile is the single most powerful persuasive weapon. I guess weapon was their word.
Seems so. But the principle is sound. This is such a practical and universally applicable idea, whether you're, selling a product, seeking a job, trying to win a seat on the school board, or just making a new friend. A genuine smile breaks down barriers.
It does. The action step is simple. Today I will smile sincerely at all those with whom I come in contact, combining that persistence with honesty. And Hugh R. Howise reminds us, you can only make others better by being good yourself. Your outward expression, like a genuine smile, truly reflects an internal state of goodness or positivity that influences others, paving the way for positive interaction and connection.
That external manifestation of an internal state is definitely a recurring theme throughout Ziegler's work. And he circles right back to that internal belief when discussing limitations, urging us powerfully not to accept negative opinions from others about our abilities. He encourages us to choose to believe in yourself and strive for your goals even if others express negative opinions of your abilities. It's about building this internal shield against external doubt and negativity.
The story he tells of George Westinghouse is just an incredible testament to this principle. This is the guy who was rated dull, slow, and impractical by his teachers, and was even asked to leave college. Imagine having those labels slapped on you.
Devastating for most people.
Right. Yet before he even turned 20, he was awarded a patent for the rotary steam engine. His next invention, a device for putting derailed trains back on the tracks, was purchased by virtually every railroad in the country.
Solved a huge problem.
A huge problem. Before his creative life was over, he patented over 400 inventions and amassed this incredible industrial empire. Even when he was disabled near the end of his life, he kept inventing, apparently dying, surrounded by sketches for his latest project, the motorized wheelchair.
Oh, relentless.
This man utterly defied every single limiting label placed upon him simply by refusing to believe them and continuing to work.
It's just an astounding example of relentless self-belief and sheer persistence, completely trumping conventional labels and expectations. The action step is direct. Refuse to accept negative and limiting comments from others, and perhaps even more importantly, from yourself.
That inner critic.
Exactly. And Thomas A. Edison's famous quote provides the underlying philosophy here. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. It's the effort, the refusal to quit, the relentless pursuit of an idea that truly defines genius, not some initial label from a teacher or a peer or even yourself. It's a powerful lesson in self-determination and the power of hard work.
And he applies this positive, forward-looking lens to an entire demographic. America's youth, specifically at the time he was writing, he expresses immense pride in them, highlighting their potential when they focus on positive choices and clear goals.
He saw great potential there.
Yeah, he gives the example of young people who choose to abstain from things like premarital sex, drugs, and alcohol, thereby eliminating certain risks like venereal disease and unwanted pregnancy. This, he argues, allows them to focus their energy intensely on being good students and setting lifetime goals. How does that ability to make clear, self-disciplined choices so directly influence a young person's future trajectory, in his view?
Well, it's foundational, according to Ziegler. His analysis highlights that these students, the ones making those disciplined choices, tend to think for themselves, have the healthiest self-images, and the clearest picture of what they want in life. This enables them to confidently state, this is who I am, and this is where I'm heading.
Clarity and confidence.
Exactly. It's a powerful vision for young people, suggesting that self-discipline in personal choices directly correlates with a strong self-identity and a clear sense of direction. When you aren't constantly dealing with the negative consequences of poor choices, your mental and emotional energy is simply freed up to focus on growth, learning, and achievement.
Makes sense. Less baggage.
Less baggage. The action step challenges you, the listener, to take time to think about who I am and where I'm heading. It's a call for self-reflection and goal setting. And Longfellow's, quote, reinforces the importance of self-respect in this. He that respects himself is safe from others. He wears a coat of mail that none can pierce. It's about building that internal armor against external pressures and doubts through self-knowledge and self-respect.
From self-respect, he then moves to the ambition required for setting high aims. He proclaims that man was designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. That's quite a statement of potential.
It really is a belief in inherent potential.
The core lesson here seems to be, always set your sights on higher objectives, never settle for less than what you feel your full potential might be.
He illustrates this with a brilliant, really memorable anecdote about an economics professor. This professor gave a test with 3 categories of questions, worth 50, 40, or 30 points respectively, and instructed the students to choose one question from each category.
Okay, straightforward enough.
Seems so. But when the papers were returned, all the students who chose the hardest 50-point questions received A's. Those who chose the 40-point questions got B's, and those who tackled the easiest 30-point questions only received C's.
Regardless of how well they answered.
Apparently, when the puzzled students asked how he graded them, the professor smiled and explained, I wasn't testing your knowledge, I was testing your aim.
Wow, that is powerful. It implies that simply aiming higher, even if the challenge feels greater and the immediate result uncertain, somehow intrinsically leads to greater achievement, or at least a higher evaluation of potential.
Right. It's not just about hitting the bullseye, but where you set your target in the first place that fundamentally defines your potential outcome. Your aspiration level matters.
Langston Hughes's lines, hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, then life is like a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. And Browning's famous, a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? They perfectly echo this sentiment, don't they?
They really capture that spirit of reaching beyond the comfortable. The action step is simple but profound. Set high ideals today and reach for them, knowing that your ambition itself can determine the quality of your outcomes. Aim high.
Aim high. This leads us naturally to the fundamental power of one incredibly simple word, can. Ziglar emphasizes that the word can is one of the most powerful words in the English language.
Simple but mighty.
And he notes that the addition of just a single letter, T, turning can into can't, marks the fundamental difference between success and failure. It's the difference between I can and I can't. Such a tiny letter, but it has monumental impact on our mindset and actions.
It frames our whole reality.
He provides these incredibly compelling historical examples of seemingly impossible declarations that were just proven flat wrong by people who simply believed they can. In 1840, scientists predicted people would suffocate if they traveled at 30 miles an hour.
Hard to imagine now.
Right. In 1901, it was widely deemed impossible for men to fly. In 1926, shooting at the moon was considered utterly impossible. And even in 1930, harnessing the energy locked within matter was declared impossible by prominent scientists.
Experts saying can't.
Exactly. Yet, figures like Thomas Edison, the Wright brothers, Robert Goddard, Einstein, they didn't accept can't. Their belief in can didn't just change their personal lives. It literally reshaped reality for all of humanity.
There can open doors for everyone else. His analysis is that our performance in life, what we achieve, can be dramatically changed by simply consciously substituting can for can't in our vocabulary, and more importantly, in our thinking. It's a literal linguistic and mental reframing that unlocks potential and shatters those self-imposed ceilings we all build.
So we need to watch our language.
Definitely. The action step is a direct challenge. Remove the word can't from your vocabulary and substitute won't, don't know how, or simply can. Be honest about why you think you can't. Is it ability, or desire, or knowledge?
That reframing is powerful. Won't implies choice. Don't know how implies learning is needed.
Exactly. And Joseph Chabert's quote serves as a powerful reminder here. Words, like glasses, obscure everything which they do not make clear. Our language shapes our perception and therefore our perceived capability. If your words are muddy or limiting, your vision of what's possible will be too.
And building directly on that, he stresses that many of these perceived impossibilities are merely mental limitations, not actual physical barriers. Once someone bravely breaks a barrier, demonstrating what is possible, others often quickly follow suit.
We see this so clearly in athletic achievements, right? Where once a record is broken, it often isn't long before others achieve or even surpass it. It changes the collective belief.
The 4-minute mile is the classic example he uses. Experts genuinely believed it was physically impossible for a human to run that fast, until Roger Bannister finally broke it in 1954. Now, high school athletes achieve it regularly.
The mental barrier crumbled.
Exactly. Similarly, Bob Beeman's incredible long jump in '68 shattered the impossible 28-foot mark by leaping nearly 29 feet and 2.5 inches. It was considered untouchable.
And Nadia Comaneci's perfect 10 in gymnastics at the 1976 Olympics, a score previously considered unattainable, literally not programmed into the scoreboards, was soon followed by other gymnasts achieving the same feat once they knew it could be done.
These aren't just feats of incredible physical prowess, though they are that too, but they're powerful demonstrations of altered mental landscapes. It's about the collective belief in what's now possible shifting.
It's absolute proof that when people realize something can be done, it often will be done. This principle, Ziglar says, applies far beyond just athletics to our everyday performance and personal achievements. It's about challenging your own self-imposed ceilings by learning from and being inspired by those who've pushed the boundaries before you.
So learn from the barrier breakers.
Yes, the action step is clear. Remove your limitations today by realizing that many barriers are mental, not physical impossibilities. It's basically an invitation to rewrite your own internal rulebook for what you believe you can achieve.
Okay, that's a powerful set of ideas about mindset and overcoming limitations. Which brings us logically to the importance of taking action and persevering, the next major theme in Ziglar's work. Because, it's one thing to cultivate a winning mindset and embrace opportunity, but it's another thing entirely to actually do the work.
Right, the execution part. Because, as he shows time and again, even small, consistent actions have profound cumulative effects.
And he starts this section by emphasizing the little things that make a big difference. He points out that often success or failure, happiness or misery, hinge not on the major, dramatic, life-altering events, but on the cumulative impact of seemingly little things.
The small stuff matters.
Yeah, he gives that relatable example of a clock that's just 4 minutes wrong being potentially far more disastrous than one that's 4 hours wrong.
How so?
Because the small error, the 4 minutes, goes unnoticed. You think you're on time, but you miss your plane or your critical meeting. The small, overlooked detail can have massive consequences, whereas the 4-hour error is obvious and you adjust.
Ah, okay. The subtle errors are sometimes the most dangerous.
Exactly. Or his humorous examples about communication,
Mm.
calling a girl a kitten versus a cat or a vision versus a sight. These subtle shifts in language, these little things, can have vastly different outcomes in your relationships and your ability to influence others positively.
Words matter. Tone matters. The analysis he draws is that values are caught, not taught, referencing James Dobson. This emphasizes the powerful impact of consistent, small actions and examples over mere words or lectures. Children, and frankly, all of us, learn far more from what we consistently see being done than what we are simply told to do.
Actions speak louder.
They really do. The action step urges you to be consistent in your dealings with others today, recognizing the cumulative impact of small actions. It's that daily, minute attention to detail, to integrity, to kindness that shapes your reality and builds trust and reputation over the long haul.
This attention to detail, or maybe lack thereof, extends to our internal state as well, particularly in eliminating worry, which he bluntly calls the enemy within. He states that worry is destructive and largely unfounded.
A waste of energy.
Totally. He observes rather pointedly, Americans take more pills to forget more worries about more silly things than ever before. This highlights a kind of cultural tendency maybe to medicate the symptoms of the anxiety rather than addressing the root cause, the pattern of worry itself.
He cites the famous Dr. Charles Mayo, co-founder of the Mayo Clinic, who famously said, "I have never known a man who died from overwork, but many who died from doubt." That is a stark warning about the corrosive power of worry and uncertainty.
It really is. And he reports psychologists revealing that an astonishing 92% of our worries are for no good reason.
92%.
Yeah. Breaking that down, 40% are about things that never actually happened, 30% are about things that have already happened and are thus out of our control, 12% are over unfounded health concerns, and the final 10% involve daily miscellaneous fretting that accomplishes absolutely nothing productive.
So only 8% is potentially useful worry.
Apparently. This misplaced energy, he concludes pretty dramatically, is literally killing us. It's a stark reminder of the immense wasted energy we pour into unproductive anxiety energy that could be channeled into productive action, problem solving, or simply peace of mind.
Such a drain.
So, if worry is destructive, what's a constructive framework for how we interact with others? He presents the golden rule as the soundest personal and business philosophy available. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Simple, but profound.
Timeless wisdom.
He illustrates this with the phenomenal growth story of John McConnell's company, Worthington Industries, which was doing around $500 million in revenue when he wrote the book. McConnell attributed its incredible success directly to this simple philosophy. He stated, if you can reverse your thinking and see things from the other person's standpoint, the problems will disappear. How does that simple principle translate into such tangible business success? It seems almost too simple.
Well, it creates the ultimate win-win scenario. His analysis asserts that this philosophy leads to success because, fundamentally, you can achieve anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want in life.
The Ziglar Credo.
The absolute core of his philosophy, this reciprocal benefit, he argues, is why the free market, when operating ethically, thrives and produces a high standard of living. When businesses genuinely serve their customers' needs, when employers genuinely care for their employees' well-being, and when colleagues support one another, the entire ecosystem flourishes. It fosters trust, loyalty, cooperation, all invaluable assets in any endeavor.
Right, it builds social capital.
Exactly. The action step is straightforward. Treat your family, business associates, and strangers with the same attitude you would like to be treated with today. Apply it universally. And James M. Barrie's quote is just a beautiful summation. Those who bring sunshine into the lives of others cannot keep it from themselves. Like a self-filling well of positivity, the more goodwill you put out, the more seems to come back to you, or at least enrich your own experience.
That's a lovely thought. Moving from these general principles to specific instances of courage, He highlights the story of Randy Waters, which exemplifies focusing on what you have and using it to the absolute fullest rather than dwelling on what you've lost.
Another powerful story.
Randy Waters, a high school defensive back, managed to intercept 4 passes in just 5 games, punted the ball nearly 40 yards on average, and successfully kicked extra points, all while playing football with one arm and hand.
Duh.
How did he even manage that physically? And what's the core lesson for us in that kind of incredible determination?
His story is just about sheer will, adaptability, and refusing to be defined by limitation. He didn't focus on the missing arm. He focused intensely on what he could do and how to leverage his remaining abilities, his strengths, to excel in a demanding sport. His positive attitude, Ziegler states flatly, made him a winner.
Attitude again?
Attitude again. This powerful story emphasizes that a positive attitude, combined with ingenuity and effort, can overcome immense physical challenges and serve as a profound inspiration to others. It's not just about his athletic skill, which was clearly considerable, but the sheer force of his will and his creativity in finding a way to compete and succeed.
Finding his way.
Exactly. The core lesson for us is that limitations are often self-imposed, or at least their impact is determined by our response. With enough courage, a positive mindset, and determination, you can redefine what's possible for yourself. The action step here is actually to share the story of Randy Waters with 2 people today to inspire them and remind yourself of this truth. It's about spreading that inspiration.
Paying it forward.
Yeah. And Sir Winston Churchill's belief that courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality that guarantees all others, perfectly captures the foundational nature of this kind of resilience. Without courage, other virtues like perseverance or optimism might never even be put into action when things get tough.
Courage enables everything else. And closely related to courage is hope, which Ziegler frames very much as a choice we make. He urges us not to lose hold of hope and faith, and to realize that happiness and success are often always present, waiting to be used.
Waiting to be activated.
Yeah. He tells the truly poignant story of Harry Perry, who received the devastating diagnosis that he was dying of leukemia. In response to this news, Harry did what many might do. He quit his job, ruled out any possibility of marriage, started drinking heavily, and basically spent his time alone, essentially just waiting to die.
A spiral of despair.
Completely. The profound, almost cruel twist in the story, however, is that the doctor was wrong. Harry wasn't actually dying of leukemia.
Oh my goodness.
But, Ziegler points out, he was certainly dying from a lack of hope. Ziegler's analysis is sharp. Harry's happiness and success, the potential for them, were there all the time. He simply stopped using them. He shut down his own potential based on a faulty external report.
Wow, what a cautionary tale.
It really is. It serves as this powerful reminder that our internal state and our perceived reality are often a choice, a decision we make to either engage or disengage with life's inherent possibilities. Your attitude, Ziegler says, reflects your confidence. And it's a conscious choice to embody that confidence, regardless of external circumstances or even a terrifying diagnosis. The action step is to remember that you are born to win, and actively let your attitude reflect this confidence. It's a refusal to let external circumstances, even misinformation, define your internal potential or extinguish your hope.
That internal locus of control is paramount.
This brings us directly to the concept he calls stinkin' thinking and the immense power of self-image. Ziegler states it very bluntly. Your success is good or bad right between your ears. Attitude, he emphasizes again and again, is the key differentiator between people in similar circumstances.
It's the great variable.
He recounts this illuminating anecdote from a Board of Realtors meeting he attended in Flint, Michigan during a big General Motors strike. One salesman was genuinely going broke because of the strike, blaming the negative economic situation entirely, saying things like, "The economy's terrible, nobody's buying homes right now, I'm doomed." Just pure negativity.
Externalizing the blame.
Totally. But then Ziegler spoke to another lady in the exact same business, in the exact same city, facing the identical strike, who, despite it all, saw the situation as an opportunity. She actually listed several reasons why this strike was good for her business. Maybe people had more time to look, maybe they were rethinking finances, even joking that if the strike continued for another 6 weeks, she could probably take the rest of the year off because she'd make so much commission.
Wow, polar opposite perspectives.
Complete polar opposites. The striking difference between these two individuals facing identical external circumstances was entirely their attitude, their perception of the situation. Stinkin' thinking has absolutely no place in your business or your life, Ziegler declares. It's just a self-sabotaging pattern, isn't it? It's the limiting stories we tell ourselves that dictate our potential and our results.
Ziegler shows us that by consciously changing the narrative in your head, you literally change your entire reality, not just your mood. The action step is blunt. Eliminate stinking thinking today by actively looking for the good that can come out of every situation, even challenging ones. It's an active search for the upside.
Finding the opportunity in the obstacle.
Exactly. And Charles F. Kettering affirmed this. There exist limitless opportunities in every industry. Where there is an open mind, there will always be a frontier. It's about perception opening up possibility, not circumstances shutting it down.
And the most profound transformation, he argues, always comes from within, by fundamentally altering your thinking. He gives the incredibly inspiring example of Larry Wells.
This one really hits home.
Larry Wells served 15 years in Idaho State Prison for armed robbery. 15 years. His parents, incredibly, never gave up on him and sent him James Allen's classic little book, As a Man Thinketh.
A book that's changed many lives.
And it changed Larry's. Reading it was like a thunderbolt for him, an absolute epiphany that convinced him deep in his core that you are exactly what you think you are. From that day forward, Larry Wells consciously eliminated his stinking thinking and embraced positive
A
thinking.
complete mental overhaul.
Absolutely. Today, Ziegler reports, Larry Wells heads Expedition Outreach, a program that helps young men build a positive self-image, empowering them to transform their own lives from the inside out, just as he did. His life is just living proof that changing your thinking can change your life, no matter how dire your past circumstances might seem.
From inmate to inspiration.
Exactly. The action step is profound. Remember the adage, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, and hold tight to good thoughts in your mind and heart today. Consciously cultivate the good. And Shakespeare's timeless wisdom adds another layer. There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It really is all in the interpretation, the lens through which you choose to view your reality.
That internal work is the foundation for everything else.
So our mindset, our ability to overcome those self-imposed limits, and our commitment to consistent action are all absolutely crucial. Now let's talk about how these principles manifest specifically in our relationships, our continuous growth, and how we apply them daily. Starting with something as fundamental as the transformative power of our words.
Right. He explains that words are truly powerful forces that can build or tear down, and understanding their true meaning, their impact, can fundamentally transform self-worth. This isn't about some kind of magical thinking, but recognizing the deep psychological impact of the labels and descriptions we apply, both to ourselves and to others.
He shares a truly poignant anecdote about a boy named Clayton, who was always called Clay by his friends. His uncle, probably unknowingly but powerfully, negatively impacted Clayton's self-image by casually equating clay with dirt, saying something like, "Clay, that's just dirt, son."
Ouch. Careless words.
Yeah. And this seemingly small comment led to self-image and attitude problems for Clayton throughout his life, until he met John Hartzell, who compiled a book called What's in a Name. Hartzell explained to him that clay is not just dirt, it's actually an important raw material that, when placed in the potter's hands, becomes a thing of beauty and usefulness. He even pointed out that God, in the Bible, compares his special people to clay, molded by the divine potter.
A complete reframing of the word.
Utterly. And this revelation completely transformed Clayton's self-worth and his entire outlook on life. It's such a sad story initially because it shows the devastating impact of thoughtless words, but it's also incredibly revealing in emphasizing the importance of correct information and perspective. And ultimately, it's exciting because it demonstrates how changing one simple thought, one interpretation of a word, can profoundly change someone's life.
This story profoundly illustrates how our internal narrative, often shaped by those external words we hear growing up or even casually, dictates our self-perception and consequently our capabilities. The action step urges us to be aware of the power of your words today and use them positively, both towards ourselves, that self-talk, and towards others.
Choose words carefully.
Yes. James Bryant Conant warned that some of mankind's most terrible misdeeds have been committed under the spell of certain magic words or phrases, highlighting the immense responsibility we carry with our language. Our words are not just sounds, they are literally the building blocks of reality, both personal and collective.
That's a heavy thought. And this leads to a fundamental question about true happiness. Ziegler asserts very clearly that material possessions and fame do not guarantee happiness. True happiness comes from within, from your character and virtues.
The internal source again.
He points to a Hollywood columnist at the time, Rona Barrett, who stated quite candidly that she didn't know a single superstar who was really happy, despite having all the external markers: youth, health, money, fame, charisma, the works. Why is it that these external markers of success so often fail to deliver on the promise of genuine, lasting happiness?
Well, fundamentally because they are external. They're often fleeting, conditional, and subject to comparison. Ziegler underscores the profound truth that what you have won't make you happy. It's what you are that counts.
Being over having.
Exactly. He encourages parents, for example, to prioritize giving children themselves, their time, and their unconditional love over just material things. And crucially, to teach those old-fashioned virtues like honesty, character, integrity, faith, love, loyalty, dependability. These, he believes, are the true internal ingredients that allow children and adults to manufacture their own happiness. They are internal, self-sustaining resources that can't be bought or easily taken away.
Building inner wealth.
Precisely. The action step is practical. Spend quality and quantity time with those you love today and teach old-fashioned virtues through your positive example. Again, showing, not just telling. And the wisdom is clear in the quote he uses. He who is virtuous is wise, and he who is wise is good, and he who is good is happy. It's presented as a chain reaction, starting with cultivating inner virtue.
That idea of internal virtue leading to happiness is beautifully connected to a section on the courage to change, which highlights achieving greatness in spite of significant handicaps, driven purely by determination. He recounts a powerful story of a beautiful statue in Mexico that's actually titled "In Spite of,"
Why that title?
because the sculptor, during the process of creating it, tragically lost his right hand. But instead of giving up, he painstakingly learned to chisel with his left hand to complete the masterpiece.
Incredible perseverance.
Isn't it? This principle is echoed, Ziegler points out, by a long line of extraordinary individuals throughout history. Milton, who wrote Paradise Lost in spite of blindness; Beethoven, who composed some of his greatest symphonies in spite of deafness; Helen Keller, who became a renowned speaker and author despite being blind and deaf; Renoir, who painted masterpieces with severely rheumatic hands.
The In Spite of Club.
Exactly. These stories powerfully reinforce that perseverance against overwhelming odds, fueled by inner courage, truly leads to triumph. He also adds that poignant anecdote of the freezing hiker who saved his own life by stopping to help another freezing stranger he encountered. It highlights that sometimes helping others is the most direct path to saving oneself.
That reciprocal help again?
Yeah. The action step encourages us to remember that if we respond courageously in the face of adversity, our opportunities will actually be multiplied, not diminished, and to actively look for chances to help others, knowing that human beings always help each other. It's part of our nature when we allow it to be. Your courage inspires others, and your compassion strengthens both you and them.
Such a positive view of human potential, even in hardship.
Speaking of overcoming physical challenges, he returns to this theme with the incredibly powerful example of Wendy Soker and the core idea that life is what you make it. You cannot change the cards life has dealt you, he says flatly, but you can absolutely determine how you choose to play them.
Taking responsibility for your response.
Wendy Soker, when he wrote the book, was a University of Florida freshman diver. She placed third in the state competition and swam in the number 2 spot on a highly competitive team, all while carrying a full academic load. Now, what makes her story so incredibly powerful and relevant here?
What makes her story absolutely astounding is that Wendy Stoker was born with no arms.
No arms. And she's a competitive diver and swimmer.
Exactly. Yet, despite this, she enjoyed bowling, water skiing, and could type over 45 words per minute using her feet. She was studying to be a physical therapist, aiming to help others overcome their own challenges.
Unbelievable determination.
Wendy's story is just a profound testament to positive thinking and focusing relentlessly on what one can do, regardless of the obstacles or perceived limitations. It's a living example of refusing to be defined by what you lack and instead leveraging what you have. The action step encourages all of us to concentrate on what you can do instead of what you cannot. And the quote serves as a powerful reminder: success is never final and failure never fatal. It's courage that counts. It's always about how you approach the game, how you play your hand, not just the hand you're initially dealt.
That's truly remarkable. And this courage to defy limitations also extends beyond the physical to the concept of inner beauty. He argues that inner beauty and radiance, cultivated through deliberate self-work and perseverance, are far more powerful and attractive in the long run than mere physical attractiveness.
Substance over surface.
He illustrates this with Donna Axum's journey to becoming Miss America. Donna came from a small town in Arkansas, was apparently very shy, and thought herself quite unattractive growing up.
So she didn't start with towering confidence.
Not at all. But she made a conscious decision to bring out her inner beauty, as she called it, a deliberate cultivation of self-worth, confidence, poise, and skill. She underwent physical exercise, learned pageant skills like interviewing and walking. After losing her very first local contest, she didn't give up. She entered 16 more pageants before finally becoming Miss Arkansas and then, astonishingly, Miss America in 1963.
16 tries. That's perseverance.
That's serious perseverance. Her inner glow, that radiance born of hard work and self-belief, not only won her the crown, but also led to a successful career later as a platform speaker and TV personality. His analysis here is that everyone possesses an inner glow, some kind of positive essence. Finding and actively bringing out your positive inner qualities like kindness, intelligence, determination, humor can make you a winner in life, regardless of external recognition or trophies. It's about cultivating character that naturally shines through.
So it's an inside-out job.
Exactly. The action step is to work to bring out your positive inner qualities today to be even more effective, maybe by identifying some of your best qualities and consciously focusing on nurturing and expressing them more often.
And this leads to another crucial point about really taking control of your own destiny. Even if, or especially if, others express negative opinions about your abilities or potential, your belief and your effort are paramount. They trump external opinions.
He gives us the powerful example of Fran Parkinson, the legendary NFL quarterback. His official 1961 professional football scouting report, the expert opinion at the time called him too small for a quarterback, too slow on his feet, and too weak, cannot take the punishment. How did he possibly overcome such a damning assessment from the experts to become an NFL legend?
He simply refused to accept it as his reality. Tarkenton not only made the team against those odds, but became a first-string quarterback known for being an excellent scrambler and passer. And he lasted longer and passed for more yards than any other quarterback in NFL history up to that point. He simply refused to let a scouting report define his future. His unwavering belief in himself, combined with relentless effort and adaptation, created a completely different reality than the one predicted for him.
Belief plus action defied the prediction.
Precisely. Another incredible example he gives is Jerry Jewell. Despite having cerebral palsy, she pursued her dream of becoming a comedian. She visualized herself walking straight in a beautiful gown, holding on to that positive image, and strategically used her handicap, her unique perspective, to her advantage in her comedy routines. She persisted through challenges until she became known as a hot new star in Hollywood, eventually able to select her own roles.
Turning a perceived disadvantage into an advantage.
Exactly. And then there's Cheryl Prewitt, Miss America 1980, who tragically became paraplegic after an accident after her reign. Her immediate thought upon realizing her situation, according to the story, was, well, we were going to move anyway, now I don't have to pack a thing.
Wow, that's astonishing perspective.
Isn't it? Her incredibly positive attitude, Ziegler suggests, stemmed from a single powerful thought planted in her mind at age 5, when a milkman randomly told her she would be Miss America someday, a thought she apparently believed with unwavering faith throughout her childhood.
The power of a planted seed of belief.
Yes. These stories collectively just underscore the immense power of internal belief, persistence, and consciously choosing your attitude. Words, both the ones others say to us and, maybe more importantly, the ones we say to ourselves, are truly powerful forces shaping our destiny. The action step is a call to arms. Don't give up on yourself and actively refuse to let negative comments or physical limitations define you. It also urges us to speak only kind and positive words to yourself and others today. Feed the positive.
That internal dialogue is key. As J.B. Priestley remarked, in a quote Ziegler uses, "She was not pretty, but she might have been handsome if somebody had kept telling her that she was pretty." The power of affirmation, internal or external, is truly immense in shaping perception and even reality.
The power of a single positive word or chosen belief to reshape a life is just undeniable in these stories. This then takes us to the slightly counterintuitive idea of deliberately choosing the tough jobs. Ziegler argues that opportunity often lies exactly in those areas that others avoid, the places where there's less competition precisely because it's difficult. If you embrace the difficult, if you willingly step into discomfort, excellence and opportunity can follow.
Go where others won't.
Essentially, he provides the excellent example of Roy Campanella, the legendary Baseball Hall of Fame catcher. Campanella apparently chose that notoriously difficult, physically punishing, and injury-prone position simply because during his high school tryouts, no one else was standing in the catching area. He just wanted to play baseball, and that was the open spot.
So he went where the opening was, even though it was tough.
Exactly. It was a direct path to getting on the team, and ultimately it led to mastery because he committed to that challenging role. This principle, Ziegler implies, applies to all areas of life and career. Sometimes the greatest opportunity lies in tackling the problems or the roles that others are running away from. He also briefly mentions Peter Strudwick, a paraplegic weightlifter, as another powerful example of overcoming immense challenges and choosing a demanding, tough path.
Embracing the difficulty.
Yes. The action step here is to reflect on the courage of people like Roy Campanella and Peter Strudwick, and remember to count your blessings for the abilities you do have. It's both inspiration and gratitude. And Sydney Smith reminds us, a great deal of talent is lost to the world for want of a little courage. Every day sends to their graves obscure men whom timidity prevented from making a first effort. It's about having the courage to step into that discomfort, into that challenge, for that's where true growth and often hidden opportunity reside.
That's a powerful call to action. And it ties perfectly into the next section, which really delves into the enduring habits that cultivate success and happiness. Because as we've said, it's not enough to just know these principles. You have to consistently apply them. It's about building the muscle of positive action, making it habitual.
Exactly. It's the daily practice that makes the difference.
Absolutely. The first habit he discusses is mastering time. And he makes a really powerful, almost philosophical point about it. It's not how much time you have, but how you use it. He even states, controversially perhaps, there aren't 60 minutes in every hour. As a practical matter, there are only as many minutes in the hour as you use. What does he mean by that?
He's challenging the notion that time is just this fixed quantity that ticks by passively, that we simply run out of. Instead, he frames time as a resource whose value is determined entirely by our intentionality, by the effort and focus we put into each moment. An unused minute has no value. A focused minute can be priceless.
So time's value is created by its use.
That's the idea. He highlights the pervasive problem of wasted time, noting that many people fritter away hours daily on non-essential items due to procrastination, lack of planning, or poor organization. He cites one study finding executives spent an average of 5.5 hours a day just in conversation, and you have to wonder how much of that was truly productive versus just talk.
Good point.
But then he flips it and shows how to leverage even small blocks of time effectively. Herbert Hoover, for instance, apparently wrote an entire book just during the time he spent waiting in railroad stations. Noel Coward wrote his hit song, I'll See You Again, while stuck in a traffic jam.
Using the gaps.
Exactly. Even 15 minutes a day dedicated to reading, he calculates, enables the average reader to complete about 15 books a year. It's about seeing and seizing those micro-opportunities in the unexpected pockets of time we all have.
And he also emphasizes the power of devoting significant time to something you want to master. He notes that Olympic pole vault champion Bob Richards spent over 10,000 hours practicing his craft. Richards observed that a person can be good at anything he puts 10,000 hours into.
The mastery principle.
Right. His powerful conclusion is that you, the listener, have exactly as much time in your day as Tolstoy did when he wrote War and Peace, or as Edison did when he invented the light bulb and countless other things. The critical difference wasn't the amount of time, but how they chose to use their minutes and hours.
Intentionality and focus.
He drives home the profound truth with this line. This is an important day. No matter how you spend it, you've traded a day of your life for it. That really makes you think, doesn't it?
It puts a high value on today.
It does. The action step flows directly from that. Spend your time wisely, take advantage of it, and devote it toward achieving your goals. Make the trade worthwhile. Joseph C. Grew reminded us, we cannot pause or hesitate or kill time as if you could kill time without injuring eternity. Every second counts. Make it count for something.
That perspective truly makes every moment precious and every choice about how we spend it significant. He then helpfully condenses many of these core ideas into what he calls the 10 steps to the top guidelines. He stresses again that success isn't necessarily complicated. It often follows simple, plain guidelines consistently applied. Your actions, he reiterates, are controlled by your thoughts, and your thoughts are controlled by what you consistently allow into your mind. It's this feedback loop that you have the power to consciously influence.
Right. Managing the input to shape the output. He lists the 10 steps clearly, and they really are worth internalizing, maybe even memorizing. Let's run through them. 1. The value of time, don't waste it. 2. The value of perseverance, don't give up. 3. The pleasure of hard work, don't be lazy. 4. The dignity of simplicity, don't be complicated. 5. The worth of character, Don't be dishonest.
Foundational stuff.
Absolutely. 6, the power of kindness. Don't be uncaring. 7, the call of duty. Don't shun responsibility. 8, the wisdom of economy. Don't be a spendthrift. 9, the virtue of patience. Don't be impatient. And 10, the improvement of skills. Don't stop practicing.
It's like a blueprint for a successful, well-rounded life, isn't it? Covering work ethic, character, relationships, finances, personal growth.
It really is. This isn't just a random list. It feels like a systematic approach to habit formation, almost a daily checklist for excellence. The action step he suggests is to review these 10 guidelines for success today, at least 10 times, and select one to concentrate on for the day, and then a different one for each of the next 9 days.
Rotating focus, building them one by one.
Yeah, it's about consciously building these foundational principles into your daily practice until they become second nature.
And this leads us to the absolutely critical point of altering your life by altering your mind, which he vividly likens to cleaning up mental pollution. Just as the Earth's physical atmosphere can become dirty and polluted from industrial waste or smog, he argues, our minds can become polluted from negative inputs. Negativity, cynicism, violence, crude language affecting our thoughts, attitudes, goals, and ultimately our actions.
He uses this illustrative parallel from the astronauts on the Space Shuttle Challenger, who apparently observed from orbit how visibly dirty Earth looked, noting how dirty our atmosphere is getting, and remarking that our environment is flat going downhill.
A sobering view from above.
It is, and he uses this as a powerful metaphor for mental pollution. He argues that the daily exposure many people have to gratuitous sex and violence on television and radio, or maybe hearing profane or negative language constantly at work or school, can be incredibly destructive to our mental well-being and our overall outlook on life.
Garbage in, garbage out, essentially.
Pretty much. His analysis is direct. We become what we think about, and we think about what is put into our minds by ourselves or other people. This ties directly into what he calls William James's profound discovery. The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering the attitudes of their minds.
The power of mental attitude adjustment.
Exactly. The action step here is a call for vigilance.
Yeah.
Be a conscious participant in the programming of your mind today. It's about taking self-governance over your internal world, consciously choosing your mental inputs as carefully as you might choose your food or your physical environment.
And that self-governance, that internal state, manifests most powerfully through our actions, through example. He emphasizes this in The Power of Example. See a sermon, don't just hear one. He states unequivocally that actions speak louder than words, and genuine influence is built much more powerfully through consistent example than through mere intimidation, persuasion, or lecturing alone.
He uses Benjamin Franklin as a prime example, noting that Franklin's most eloquent speeches were no match for the power or persuasiveness of his example. Franklin didn't just talk about virtue, he lived his principles, and that was his most compelling argument to others.
Walk the talk.
Precisely. This ties into Edgar A. Guest's famous preference to see a sermon than hear one any day, which emphasizes that doing and showing are more powerful than telling. Your life itself becomes the most persuasive argument you can make for your values or beliefs.
Your actions are your loudest message. The action step is simple but challenging. Set a great example, remembering that someone is studying and learning from you. Whether you realize it or not, you're influencing people around you, family, colleagues, friends. It's a call to conscious leadership through your daily actions. Leo B. Blessing asserted, the foundations of character are built not by lecture, but by bricks of good example, laid day by day. It's that consistent daily construction that truly builds influence and shapes character, both in ourselves and in others.
That daily bricklaying. Okay, for many people, one of the most intimidating challenges, a place where they definitely don't want to set an example, is public speaking. The fear is real for a lot of folks.
Huge fear for many. The number one fear, supposedly even above death for some.
Right. But Ziegler, ever the motivator, insists you can conquer it. He uses this humorous analogy. If you feel nervous when speaking publicly, just thank God you are a racehorse and not a mule. He contrasts the calm, plodding, perhaps unexciting mule with the nervous, high-strung, energetic thoroughbred. The nervousness, he suggests, isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a sign of passion, adrenaline, potential, a thoroughbred's energy waiting to be channeled productively.
That's a fantastic reframe for performance anxiety. See it as energy, not just fear.
Exactly. He offers some very practical tips, too. Make eye contact, especially with a friendly face in the audience. Use notes as a guide, but don't just read them verbatim. Use familiar words you're comfortable with. Speak from your own life experiences or expertise where you have natural authority. Just be yourself. And most importantly, be enthusiastic. Show the audience that you genuinely believe in your message. Enthusiasm, he notes, is incredibly contagious.
If you're not excited about it, why should they be?
Good point. The action step is a direct challenge. Seize the opportunity to speak in front of a group today, no matter how small. Even speaking up in a meeting counts. It's a call to push past the fear for the sake of growth and influence, to lean into that thoroughbred energy instead of letting it paralyze you.
And speaking of connections and influence, he emphasizes the importance of making friends, noting the simple truth that you must be one to have one. Cultivating close, meaningful friendships, like any other valuable aspect of life, requires conscious effort and specific practices. They don't just magically happen, they are actively built and maintained.
He offers some really practical advice on how to do that. First, be honest. Don't be afraid to be yourself, to be vulnerable. Cultivate openness and authenticity in your relationships. Second, learn to forgive. Friends, being human, will inevitably make mistakes or let you down sometimes. Clear the air, address the issue honestly, but don't pout or hold grudges indefinitely. Third, be thoughtful. Engage in those small but important gestures that show you care, sending a card, offering a helping hand without being asked, or simply reminding friends of their importance in your life.
The little things again. They build the foundation of trust and affection. His analysis is that friendship, just like building a career or staying physically fit, is something you must actively work at. It requires time, energy, and intention. He advises seeking understanding, not perfection, in a friend, humorously adding, because if the person was perfect, he might not want you for a friend.
Huh. Good point. Keep it realistic.
Exactly. The action step is beautifully simple. Make a friend by actively being a friend. Put in the effort. And Robert Louis Stevenson stated it perfectly. A friend is a present you give yourself. It's an investment in your own well-being and happiness that pays incredible dividends over time.
Such a beautiful and true sentiment. This dedication to effort, to actively working at something, is mirrored in the realm of winning and achievement. He delves into expectancy in winning, stating powerfully that expectancy is a crucial attitude. If you plan to win, expect to win, and genuinely believe you will win, you significantly increase your chances of actually being a winner. It's the mental precursor to victory.
Setting the internal stage for success.
He illustrates this with the incredible story of 17-year-old tennis player Kathy Horvath. At the time, she was ranked 45th in the world and was playing against the undisputed world #1 Martina Navratilova, who had won 36 straight matches and was considered practically unbeatable.
David versus Goliath scenario.
Totally. Despite the overwhelming odds, the huge crowd likely expecting a quick defeat, Kathy went out and won the match. A massive upset. When asked later what her strategy was against such a dominant opponent, she simply replied, "I was playing to win."
Not playing not to lose, playing to win. Big difference.
Huge difference in mindset. That internal conviction, that deep expectancy of victory, was apparently her winning edge against a seemingly insurmountable opponent.
His analysis draws on evidence showing that expectancy directly influences performance in all sorts of contexts. How an employer's expectations affect an employee's performance, how a teacher's belief impacts a pupil's achievement. And this principle, he argues, is equally powerful, if not more so, for your own personal performance. When you genuinely expect to win, your actions, your focus, your energy naturally align with that expectation.
You play differently when you expect to succeed.
Absolutely. The action step is a bold one. Expect to win in all your activities today. Approach your day with that winner's mindset. And Walter Bagehot highlighted the unique pleasure in doing what people say you cannot do. It's about proving the doubters wrong, starting with silencing the doubts within your own mind through positive expectancy.
This mindset of expectation and preparation extends to something as practical and often stressful as getting a job. He acknowledges that job hunting can be daunting for many, but offers clear, actionable pointers to increase the odds of success, making the whole process feel less intimidating.
Breaking it down.
Yeah. First, have a clear, honest, simple resume, emphasizing specific positive results you achieved in past work, not just listing duties. Show your impact. Second, always dress your best for an interview. Make a great first impression, showing sincerity, respect for the opportunity, and eagerness.
Appearance matters in that context.
It does. Third, and he says most importantly, expect to get the job. Go in with that positive expectancy we just talked about, recognizing the vast number of employed Americans and the thousands of new job openings created monthly. See yourself succeeding.
Radiate confidence, not desperation.
Exactly. Finally, be enthusiastic. He stresses this point. Even if you lack extensive experience, employers highly value sincere and enthusiastic employees because it indicates a strong work ethic, a positive attitude, and coachability, things that are often harder to teach than specific skills.
Enthusiasm is attractive. The action step is broader, but applies here. Work toward being a more productive individual by enthusiastically approaching your life, starting with how you approach your job search or your current work. And Dr. George W. Crane advised, there is no future in any job. The future lies in the man who holds the job. Your potential isn't locked into the job description. It's within you and how you approach the role.
That's a profound shift in perspective again, isn't it? The power isn't inherent in the position, but in the person and their attitude and effort. And this leads naturally to an emphasis on getting things done, on taking action, rather than just criticizing or complaining. He states plainly that criticism rarely leads anywhere productive. Effective action is the path to solving problems and achieving objectives.
Stop talking. Start doing.
Pretty much. He uses the humorist Artemus Ward, who apparently boasted during the Civil War that he was willing to sacrifice all my wife's brother for the war effort, highlighting that common human tendency to wish for solutions or volunteer others for sacrifice without making any personal effort or taking personal action.
Pointing fingers instead of lending a hand.
Right. He uses a vivid, down-to-earth analogy. You can stand there and criticize a cow that's gotten into your cornfield all day long, but your criticism won't make the cow leave or increase her milk production. The only solution is to act. You have to physically lead the cow out or tie her up or build a better fence.
Action solves the problem, not complaining about it.
His analysis is that the difference between success and failure often hinges simply on doing something constructive about a problem, instead of just talking about it, blaming others, or waiting for someone else to fix it. It's about taking initiative, moving from talk and complaint to tangible results. The action step is direct. Today, take action on your ideas instead of engaging in lengthy discussions. Plan, yes, but then act. George W. Blount advised, if you have something to do that is worthwhile doing, don't talk about it, but do it. After you have done it, your friends and enemies will talk about it. Let your actions create the conversation.
Action speaks louder than words every single time.
Okay. And finally, in this section on habits, he addresses a universal challenge, dealing with stress. While acknowledging that some stress is actually good, it provides motivation, focus, the energy to perform, he warns emphatically that excessive unmanaged stress is harmful, literally killing us through its physical and mental toll. But the good news is there are clear, actionable ways to manage it effectively.
He offers two main strategies for stress management, both very practical. First, deal with the cause of the stress directly. Don't let things fester. Immediately confront misunderstandings or conflicts that are causing friction. He advises, swallow your pride, sum up your courage, and deal honestly with the conflict. Many problems, he suggests, are simply miscommunications that grow into monsters if left unaddressed in the dark. He echoes the biblical advice. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Address it promptly before it poisons your thoughts and relationships.
So direct confrontation of the issue. What's the second strategy?
The second is to proactively find a pressure release valve. Make time daily for activities that help you unwind and de-stress. This could be quiet reading, prayer or meditation, intentional relaxation exercises, or physical exercise like jogging, swimming, fast walking, or bicycling, whatever works for you to release that built-up tension.
Building in decompression time.
Exactly. His analysis is that consistently practicing these things, both confronting the sources of stress and finding healthy releases, can dramatically reduce tension, improve emotional stability, and even boost creativity and save money in the long run as stress-related health issues and poor decisions decline.
The action step combines both. Confront stressful situations immediately today, and also, crucially, take time for yourself to unwind. Read, pray, meditate, exercise.
Yeah.
It's about conscious self-management to preserve your mental and physical well-being, acknowledging that you simply can't pour from an empty cup. You need to recharge. Lord Chesterfield wisely noted, take care of the minutes, for the hours will take care of themselves. Manage the small daily stresses and build in recovery time, and the larger picture of your well-being will naturally improve.
These insights collectively form a really powerful toolkit, I think, for navigating life with more purpose, resilience, and effectiveness. Now, as we move into the final section of the book, Ziglar distills what feel like enduring principles, timeless wisdom that applies across all aspects of our lives, from career advancement to spiritual fulfillment and finding meaning.
Okay, let's delve into these timeless principles, starting with something very practical. What it takes to get a promotion in the workplace. He outlines specific traits that employers, or at least savvy managers, look for in employees they're considering for management positions, qualities that distinguish potential leaders from the pack.
What are those key traits?
First, he mentions forcefulness, but defines it carefully as skillfully making demands and increasing others' efforts, not through aggression or bullying, but through clear direction, expectation, and motivation. Second is objectivity, the ability to set aside personal ego and emotions when making decisions, focusing instead on facts, logic, and the best outcomes. Third is self-discipline, which he calls essential for maintaining focused concentration despite distractions and for putting in consistent effort even when motivation wanes.
Okay, those make sense for leadership. What else?
Fourth is not caring who has the good idea. A truly effective manager, he says, gives proper credit where it's due and implements good ideas for the benefit of the team or company, regardless of where the idea originated. It's about results, not protecting ego or status. Fifth is surrounding yourself with talent. Management, he notes, pays more for the ability to recognize, attract, and develop talent in others than for almost any other single ability, because great leaders build great teams. They don't try to do it all themselves.
The multiplier effect of good hiring and delegation.
Exactly. And finally, sixth, he includes compassion and true concern for fellow workers, recognizing that people are not just resources or cogs in a machine, but human beings with needs and feelings. The action step he suggests is very practical. Copy these success traits onto a 3x5 card and review them regularly. Keep them top of mind. Christian Bovee challenged, doubt whom you will, but never doubt yourself. It seems that cultivating these leadership traits begins with that inner conviction and self-belief that you can develop them.
This leads directly to the concept of continuous learning and the importance of becoming a specialist in your field. He argues that significantly enhancing your chances for success, especially in an age of information overload, means becoming a recognized expert or specialist in a particular area. Why is specialization so crucial now, perhaps more than ever, even when we also hear about the value of being a generalist?
It's about providing deep, specific value. With the sheer volume of new knowledge constantly emerging in almost every field, it's virtually impossible for one person to know everything, even within a relatively narrow domain. Becoming a deep expert in one important area makes you invaluable to your company or your clients, as you become the go-to resource for critical information, insights, and solutions in that specific niche.
Becoming the indispensable expert.
Right. He suggests practical steps. Pick an important area of interest relevant to your work, research it thoroughly, read trade journals, books, attend webinars, talk to leaders in the field, and become a valuable storehouse of information. And crucially, don't just hoard that knowledge. Share it strategically with your boss or colleagues to help them be more effective, demonstrating your value not just as an expert, but as a proactive problem solver and a resource for the whole team.
Adding value beyond your job description.
Exactly. The action step is to identify an area today where you can help others by gaining additional knowledge and begin working immediately to acquire that knowledge. Take the initiative. As the saying goes, it's what you learn after you know it all that counts. Your formal education is just the beginning. The real learning journey should never end.
Building on that idea of continuous self-improvement, he highlights the transformative power of imagination, specifically visualizing success. He states quite boldly that you can perform exactly as you program your mind to perform by mentally seeing the end result clearly before you even take physical action.
The power of mental rehearsal.
Precisely. He gives vivid examples of top athletes who master this technique. Jack Nicklaus, who apparently visualizes the entire flight of the golf ball and sees it dropping into the cup before he swings. Rafael Sepsian, a kicker, who sees the football sailing perfectly through the uprights. Moses Malone, the basketball player, who visualizes the ball swishing cleanly through the net before he shoots.
They see the success before it happens.
And this isn't just anecdotal superstition or wishful thinking. He cites Dr. Maxwell Maltz's influential book, Psychocybernetics, which reports on scientific research showing that mental training, mental rehearsal, can be almost as effective as actual physical practice in improving performance. He gives the example of basketball players who only mentally practice shooting free throws, improving almost as much as those who physically practiced every day.
That's amazing. The mind influencing the body so directly.
It really is. His analysis is that this process works for elite Olympic athletes, and it can absolutely work in your everyday behavior and performance too. By consciously coding your mind to think like a winner, by projecting a clear, detailed picture of success in your mind's eye, you take the first and arguably the most important steps toward actually becoming one. You're programming your internal GPS for success.
The action step, then, is to picture exactly what winning means to you, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and focus intently on that mental picture before beginning important activities. See the desired outcome first. Oliver Wendell Holmes noted, "Man's mind, stretched by a new idea, never goes back to its original dimensions. Once you vividly imagine a possibility, it becomes a real potentiality in your mind."
That's a powerful tool for anyone seeking to improve performance in any area, isn't it? And when you communicate those ideas or anything else, he comes back to stressing simplicity in communication. Be understood. He argues that true eloquence is often simplicity in motion. Your thoughts can run deep, but your expression should be simple and direct to ensure your message is actually received and understood.
He humorously notes that he aims to write at about a 7th grade, third-month level, not because the ideas are simple, but because he believes even college professors can understand simple language. He wants maximum clarity.
Good point. Dr. Steve Franklin reinforces this, saying messages don't need to be complicated to be profound or effective. He cites examples like Michelangelo creating masterpieces with just 3 primary colors, composers moving the world with only 7 musical notes, or even Elvis Presley shaking things up with just 2 basic chords. Simplicity can be incredibly powerful.
He also points to the Gettysburg Address, arguably one of the most memorable and impactful speeches in American history. It contains only 271 words, and of those, 202 are just one-syllable words. Short, simple, direct, powerful.
His analysis is that using unnecessarily confusing language or jargon often leads to misunderstanding, not impression. People might nod along, but they don't truly connect or grasp the message. Simple, honest, direct communication, perhaps delivered with genuine warmth or enthusiasm, is what truly moves people to action, gains friends, shares insights effectively, and ultimately contributes to happiness and understanding.
The action step is clear. Today, speak simply and directly, making no effort to overwhelm or impress anyone with your vocabulary. Focus on clarity and connection, not complexity. As a related quote, he includes notes, "The average person's vocabulary is said to be about 500 words. That's a small inventory, but think of the turnover. It's about effectively using the words you have to connect."
Such a great point. And speaking of simple, direct paths to well-being, he offers a technique for creating instant happiness through gratitude. He asserts that most of us are likely far better off than you realized, and genuine happiness can often be accessed almost instantly through a conscious shift in perspective and deep gratitude for our current blessings, however simple they may seem.
How do we access that instantly?
He suggests a powerful visualization exercise from Dr. Herb True. First, vividly imagine losing absolutely everything, every material possession, every important relationship, every friend, every relative. Feel that loss. Then, just as vividly, visualize getting it all back, one by one.
Wow, that would be intense.
Extremely. The immediate, overwhelming realization that hits you, he says, is how much you already have to be profoundly grateful for right now. His analysis is that most people reading his book, and likely listening to this, are surrounded by wealth in terms of relationships, health, freedom, opportunity, basic necessities that would stagger the imagination of millions of people on this earth. This practical comparative realization, this shift in perspective from what we lack to what we have, can lead to an almost immediate feeling of happiness and gratitude, because that baseline of blessings is always there, waiting to be acknowledged.
It's about appreciating the baseline. The action step is straightforward. Today, make a list of those things for which you are particularly grateful. Just the act of listing them brings them into focus. Dale Carnegie wisely observed, "Remember, happiness doesn't depend upon who you are or what you have. It depends solely upon what you think." It truly is an inside job, a function of our focus.
And building on that foundation of inner state and gratitude, he talks again about winning friends and influencing people, emphasizing that personality development, especially basic courtesy and respect, is a sadly neglected skill that is crucial for success and happiness. These aren't just soft skills, they're essential life skills.
He observes that truly happy and successful people are almost without exception pleasant, personable, and courteous in their interactions. He stresses the simple but profound value of teaching children, and practicing ourselves, basic courtesies like please, thank you, yes ma'am, and yes sir, noting that many top executives and professionals use these regularly, not as signs of subservience, but as tools for showing respect and building rapport. Good cable manners also fall into this category, he says, as they demonstrate consideration for others.
The small courtesies add up to create a positive impression and smoother interactions. He offers the powerful example of Dean Cromwell, a highly successful university track coach. Cromwell was known as a good finder, someone who consistently looked for and emphasized his athletes' strengths rather than dwelling on their weaknesses. He used encouragement as his primary tool, famously leading his tired team to win a championship by focusing on their potential and building their belief. His analysis is clear and direct. Encouragement is stronger than criticism. Finding the good in others and genuinely articulating it builds people up and motivates them far more effectively than constant critique or negativity.
The action step follows logically. Today, be pleasant, personable, and courteous, actively looking for the good in others and complimenting them sincerely when you find it. Make it a habit to be a good finder. J. Wilbur Chapman encourages us beautifully. Look for strength in people, not weakness, good, not evil. Most of us find what we search for. Your focus, your intention, determines what you discover in others and in situations.
That's a powerful and practical way to approach relationships and life in general. Next, he delves into a more profound spiritual analogy in the section titled The Scrap Heap and God's Purpose in Problems. He posits that God sometimes allows trials of fire in our lives, not to stop us or destroy us, but actually to build us up, to make us tougher and more resilient, much like a blacksmith uses fire to strengthen raw iron into useful steel. This offers a deeply spiritual perspective on adversity, doesn't it? How does this idea help us reframe the challenges we inevitably face?
It provides a framework of meaning and purpose within suffering. He illustrates this with the story of a blacksmith who had a sign in his shop that read, "The Fire Lord, not the Scrap Heap." The blacksmith explained that he puts the horseshoes he's making into the hottest coals of the fire, then beats them on the anvil to test their toughness. Only the ones that endure the fire and the beating without becoming brittle get finished into useful horseshoes. The ones that crack or break under pressure get tossed onto the scrap heap.
A powerful metaphor for testing and strengthening.
It really is. He draws a direct biblical connection here, citing 1 Peter 4.2, which advises believers not to be surprised or shocked by the fiery trials that come upon you to prove you, as if something strange were happening. His analysis is that nobody actively seeks out problems like job loss, heartbreak, betrayal, or illness. But when God allows them to happen, Ziglar suggests, we should look for his purposes within them, trusting that God never stops people, God only starts people. It suggests that challenges are not ultimately punishments or dead ends, but rather forging processes designed by a loving hand to make us stronger, purer, and more fit for purpose.
So it's an invitation to find meaning and growth potential even in the midst of struggle, trusting there's a bigger purpose at play.
Exactly. The action step is to seek the purpose behind the opportunities, what some might call problems, that arise for you today. Try to see the potential lesson or strengthening element. And remember Romans 8.28. All things work together for good to those that love God and are called according to his purpose. It's an invitation to find meaning and trust in a larger plan, even when things are difficult.
That's a deeply comforting yet challenging perspective on adversity. And staying on the theme of faith, he then addresses the power of prayer, making it very clear that in his view, it's okay to ask for yourself. He emphasizes that it is absolutely appropriate to pray for oneself, and God desires to hear our personal needs. This seems to contradict a common misconception some people have that prayer should only be for others or for grand, selfless causes. What does Ziglar want us to understand about praying for our own needs?
He wants us to understand that from his Christian perspective, God is presented as our loving Father, and a loving Father naturally desires to hear about and meet the needs of his children. He provides several biblical examples to support this view. Luke 18.1-7 tells the parable of the persistent widow who continually pleaded her case to an unjust judge until he finally granted her request simply to get her off his back. Jesus uses this to commend her persistence and urges his disciples to never give up and never be discouraged in praying.
Persistence in asking.
Yes. Matthew 7.7 gives the direct command. Ask, and it will be given you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. He points out that often a great hindrance to answered prayer isn't God's unwillingness to listen or give, but something lacking in the person, perhaps lack of faith, persistence, or praying with wrong motives. Even Jesus himself, in Matthew 26.39, prayed for himself in the Garden of Gethsemane, asking, "If it be possible, let this cup pass from me," showing vulnerability and personal request, though crucially adding, "Not as I will, but as you will," demonstrating ultimate submission to the divine plan.
And even the model prayer.
Exactly. The Lord's Prayer itself includes the very specific personal request, "Give us this day our daily bread." His analysis is that God is our Father and loves to hear our requests, both big and small, trusting that he knows best how and when to answer them.
The action step then becomes, List your needs on paper and pray to God to help you meet them, understanding they will be met in God's way on his timetable. It combines specific asking with trust in divine wisdom. Proverbs 3.56 guides this approach. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. Trust and ask.
This leads beautifully to a final, profound principle about wealth and ability, centered on the question, what do you have in your hand?
Okay, what's the core idea here?
He explains that true success, and particularly spiritual salvation from his viewpoint, are not achieved by human effort alone. They require divine intervention and, critically, using the abilities and resources you already possess, however humble they may seem. He references Matthew 19.24-26, where Jesus makes the startling statement about it being easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The disciples are shocked, asking, "Who then can be saved?" Jesus replies, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." This highlights that salvation, in this view, is impossible through human striving alone. It requires God's miraculous intervention, his enabling power.
So it connects reliance on God with practical action.
Exactly. He then connects this to a story from Dr. Norman Vincent Peale about a poor family living in misery. Their situation only began to improve when the wife, despite their hardships, held onto her faith. An idea then popped into Dr. Peale's mind, put there by God, he believed, to suggest the wife try selling her simple handmade pot holders, maybe dressed up a bit, to a local department store. She did, and it eventually led to a successful small business that lifted the family out of poverty.
Using what she had, inspired by faith.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And Ziegler links this directly to God asking Moses when Moses felt inadequate and complained about his lack of eloquence, "What is that in your hand?" All Moses had was a simple shepherd's stick. Yet God used that very stick, the thing Moses already possessed, to perform powerful miracles like parting the Red Sea. The lesson is crystal clear. If you're not faithfully using what you already have, your current talents, resources, opportunities, however small, you likely won't be ready or able to use what you don't have, even if it were given to you. It's about leveraging your current, perhaps humble resources with faith, diligence, and action.
Stewardship of the present gifts. The action step is direct. Today, use your abilities as God would have you use them, focusing on what you can do right now with what's in your hand. He has a practical piece of advice. Save time thinking you can do the other fellow's job better than he can. Put it into doing your own job better. It's a powerful call to immediate personal responsibility and faithful action with the gifts and tasks you've been given right now.
Wow, that really brings together so many themes: attitude, action, faith, using your potential. As we wrap up this deep dive into Ziegler's Steps to the Top, I really hope you, our listener, have found countless insights here to empower your own journey towards success and fulfillment.
Absolutely. From cultivating that positive, proactive attitude and overcoming perceived limitations to embracing consistent action, building strong relationships based on integrity and kindness, the wisdom in this book is truly timeless. It remains deeply practical for anyone seeking to improve their life, personally or professionally.
We genuinely challenge you to take these ideas and truly let them enhance your life. Don't just let this be another podcast you listen to. Engage with it. Look again at those action steps Ziegler provides throughout the book. Maybe pick one that resonated with you today and commit to implementing it, even in a small way, starting tomorrow.
Yeah, make it real. And if you haven't read it, we highly recommend picking up your own copy of Steps to the Top. It's readily available wherever books are sold. Consider engaging with Ziegler's enduring legacy, too. His work continues to inspire millions. You can find resources online and even engage with others applying his principles on social media. Maybe share your own steps to the top or aha moments you had listening today. You might just inspire someone else's journey.
This has been an incredibly insightful journey through Ziegler's work, and we're just so grateful you joined us for it. Remember, the true value of knowledge lies in its application, not just in its accumulation.
Right. Knowledge isn't power until it's applied.
So, as you reflect on everything we discussed today, maybe ask yourself, what stands out to you most from this deep dive? What's the one idea or story that really resonated? And maybe more importantly, what one step, however small, will you take today to move just a little closer to your own personal best, to your own definition of the top?
Thank you so much for listening to the Playing Books podcast. If you enjoyed this deep dive and found it valuable, please consider following or subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. And if you know someone who might benefit from these powerful ideas, please share this episode with them.
Until next time, Keep digging deep into great books, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for your personal best.